on TSN 1050.
I need you to hold on. Heaven is a place not too far away. We all know I should be the one to say.
All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, up on TSN 4, up on YouTube Live. Brian Hayes, Jonas Siegel, Keegan Matheson in here. How we doing, boys? Good to see you guys.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
You know,
you don't have to
nice
worry
change
about
of
what's
pace
going
for
on
me.
down there. Yeah,
This is a
12-2
little bit
last
better.
night. Yeah. Vibes aren't great down there.
This is
that
an
what
upgrade.
you're suggesting?
Yeah. Got to meet Jonas today. I've checked another person off my list of people I've talked to 100 times and have not yet met in person.
There you go.
Every
Jonas.
trip out to the studio is a new one for
You
me.
always are going to find someone
I'm not
here
running out yet.
that you weren't expecting to see.
Well, and him and I kind of live like similar lives.
Yeah.
And so he's going through this season where everything is going wrong. And I just finished covering a season like that. And it's like, I know exactly how
I know.
We should get like a timeshare vacation place sometimes, and you can have the summers. I'll take the winters.
It's so great, like, because we're going to do this in like half an hour. Basically, pit you two against each other on why the Leafs were worse than the Blue Jays. Why maybe the Leafs or the Blue Jays should have more faith that they can turn things around. Because, I mean, the Leafs, they've already gone through their 82-game schedule, and they've had an off season. That was active, very active, and they're hoping to turn things around. The Blue Jays, they still got a lot of games left. This mic is crazy. I don't know if it's picking up or not, JP. It's such a bad mic. But anyway, it is like seeing yourselves in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Feel like you're through the war now. Hopefully. We'll see. But I'm standing in whatever mess this is now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How
Last
many
night
more
down
we
at
got?
the Dome.
61 more games?
61. Not that I'm counting. But 61, man. I think last night was the low point.
Was it?
12-2.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
optimistic.
Yeah, absolutely. Last night was the low point, both for how it looked, but how it felt. It felt terrible in that stadium. It was dead. Nothing is worse than indifference. You know, a stadium full of people who are ticked off and booing, that's one thing. That's energy. A stadium that's cheering is a beautiful thing. But when all you can hear is just the hum of people having conversations, probably leaning to their left and their right, being like, man, should we leave? Mm-hmm. Should we maybe just go home and watch TV? That's ugly, man. That place felt terrible.
Yeah, I would challenge that you've hit rock bottom. It can always
You can
get
go
worse.
deeper?
Oh, yeah, it can get a lot worse.
Yeah.
You know, you can get 12,000 people in there in September when they're getting spanked by some team.
It's very fair, Harry. Remember last year with the Leafs? It's like that was the worst game.
Yeah.
It's like 3 games.
Give it time.
Worse.
Give it time. I remember I was down there for the Ottawa game out of the break.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Remember
when he
that?
was talking.
Because
I was like, was that rock bottom?
It was 3 weeks of they're only 6 points out. And if they can get red hot coming out of the gate, and maybe they're going to be buyers, like I talked about it on Monday, the parallels are eerie in terms of hitting the All-Star break / the Olympic break. Jays were 2.5 games out going into the All-Star break. You can get on a hot streak. Still a lot of games left to be played. Anything's possible. The Leafs were 6 points out of a wild card spot going into the Olympic break, 25 games to go. Anything's possible. They could go 20-5. They could do that. Like, why couldn't they?
Well, because didn't they win the 3 games going into the break in Western Canada?
They went through Vancouver and Seattle, and Stolarz returned and played well. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, maybe they've got an opportunity here. And the Jays kind of similarly, like through Seattle, through San Francisco, and you're like, okay, maybe they're going to figure this out. And it got progressively worse. So watch yourself. I'm telling you, it can. And if they sell, and I don't see how it's possible where they could possibly do anything other than that now, because you're 6 games out of a wild card spot. The Red Sox got rained out last night. They won today, right? So they've won again today.
15.
15 is nuts.
15 in a row, and they're beating a team in Baltimore who was red hot as well coming into this series. The Rays aren't going to slow down. The Yankees aren't going to slow down. There's just too many teams, you know, in front of you, and furthermore, you look like a lifeless team. That's where it gets worse, right? Like, because you can speak to it. Yeah. The Leafs tried to pretend, and then they came out of the gate slow. They got pumped by Ottawa. I think that was on the Saturday night.
Yeah.
And you could feel it. They're done. And then when they started selling, they basically put the white flag up and said, we're not playing anymore. And if the Jays, if they sell, you take Gausman out of that room, you take Springer out of that room, even though he's not playing well, he's an energy guy. He's a guy that they have faith in based on his history. You take them out, replace them with kids that don't know what they're doing, it could get progressively worse. So
when you look,
I'm
for
warning you.
Hey,
watch yourself.
I'm a
that
big believer
level of optimism
in all areas of my life. It can always get worse.
Yes.
Okay. That's my optimistic take, I guess, at this point. But none of the metrics, none of the fancy stats, none of the eye test, none of the feel test feel good right now.
No.
You know, watching that team last night, it's. I'm real careful with ever questioning, like, are they locked in? Are they trying? That type of stuff. But that's different from feel. And last night felt completely defeated. You're playing a team that's just designed in a lab to expose everything that's wrong with the Blue Jays. And holding up a mirror to the Jays, man, it was ugly last night. There was no optimism out of that game. And to see teams like the Red Sox, guys, I remember when the Blue Jays were down in Boston. This was a month ago. I need to find this tweet and delete it because it's still out there, and I think that I'm going to be real unpopular in Boston. I remember tweeting the Red Sox might come sixth in the AL East. They look like the worst team in the history of this sport. They've won 15 in a row.
Yeah.
But the problem is that when you look at that and say, oh, the Jays can do that, every optimistic take about the Blue Jays has something to do with something other than themselves. It's, oh, everyone else sucks too. Oh, this team did it. But if you spend 5 minutes looking at the Blue Jays themselves, you'll think, never mind.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
But if you guys were going to build a list of, let's say, 5 things, they will turn it around if this happens. So Vlad is obviously one. Like, what else is on the list?
Well, there's 5 or 6 other bats that have to come alive.
So Springer's been better. So like that.
Springer needs to be better.
he's
Addison
hitting
Barger
singles.
coming back would be a big one.
Which I just don't.
His
I'm not holding
absence
my breath.
has been brutal. If we see him this year, great. But he was supposed to be the guy that would fill in secondary. Like Alejandro Kirk is another one. That hasn't been there.
Yeah.
Andres Jimenez is flying under that radar, man. But for someone making $23 million a year,
Terrible.
with no offensive value right now, and unless you're the best defender on the planet, that's tough. He's good. He's not the best on the planet. That contract needs to be a bigger talking point than it is right now, man.
But wasn't that the deal when they wasn't that his deal before he got here?
Yes. So
Great
they took it
fielder.
on.
Right?
And listen, last year in the playoffs, he was very clutch and very good.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was playing second base when he got here. Now he's playing short, and he played short, obviously, ever since Bo went down in New York in September. But it was a risk because Cleveland was trying to get off the money, and Toronto was willing to accept the money. But it's just so far down the list.
Yeah.
The problem is the rotation isn't any good. Like, you feel for Gausman last night. He got 2 outs.
Yeah.
He's you're almost about to get out, clean inning, and it never materialized. And nothing's easy for him right now.
No.
Like they're sitting on everything. He's not striking anybody out. Nothing's easy for Kevin Gausman. And you know, you get
tiring to watch him.
It's very
like
difficult
I
to
feel
watch.
like I'm watching a veteran pitcher who's laboring through this.
Yeah.
And like I'm not sure if I've covered a player who I respect as much as Gausman. Like a thoughtful guy, great to work with, what he's done in this city, on and off the field. I can't say enough good things about him. But there's only, guys, 5 pitchers in baseball who have thrown more innings than him. Scherzer and Corbin, like 3 of them are on this team, which is maybe not a good thing at this point. Otherwise, it's Sale, Quintana, and Justin Verlander. Like, this guy's thrown 1 million innings, 2,000 plus. And he looks tired out there. And I don't blame him one bit for that. Like, especially coming off of last year. Regular season and playoffs, no one in the sport threw more innings than Kevin Gausman, and he did that at 34. He's given all he's got left in the tank, but you need to help a pitcher like that. And that's what kills me watching this team, is that if you're going to have a god-awful offense, and that's what they are. This is an awful
worst in Major
offense.
League Baseball right
Worst
now.
in MLB.
The worst.
I was writing a story to get 221 hitters have more homers than Vladdy.
221.
I believe the 9-hitter for the Rays has got 2 in the last 2 nights.
Baffles me. So if you're going to have that offense, which is abysmal, you need to play elite defense. You need to be running the bases like the Rays, which looks like a team that has a heart.
They can
at
motor,
the very
man.
least. They're fun to watch.
Yeah.
And you need to pitch. But I feel for a guy like Kevin Gausman going out there knowing he's probably going to get 1 or 2 runs scored, and that's what he gets.
Well, and that's it. When you're deep in your career and the energy's, you know, questionable. I'm not questioning his work ethic or that he wants to perform, but when you get to mid-30s and your arm has been used a lot, you need a couple things to trigger you to be on the front foot. 1, a belief that the offense is going to pick you up when need be. 2, a winning atmosphere.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have access to either of those right now. Like, if he's going on the mound, he knows he's getting no run support. And the way that they're performing in general, they're just kind of playing out the season. And on top of it, he's got the trade deadline now hanging over him where, I don't know what the market's going to be for him. He's got an 8-team no-trade list. Ken Rosenthal tweeted out, about half an hour ago, the Reds, Brewers, Tigers, Mets, A's, White Sox, Pirates, and Mariners are on that list. But that could be something that, obviously throws him off a little bit as well. I mean, he's going into a contract year. He's not going to come back. I can't imagine he comes back. So where's his family going? Like, there's just a lot he's dealing with right now.
Is there no way you just extend him for cheap?
I don't think so, because I look at Chris Bassett last year.
Yeah.
Who was a year older, but coming off of that, the Blue Jays, I never got the sense there was a ton of interest there. And the Blue Jays said, no, thank you. He went to Baltimore. He has a 5.2 ERA. He's been on the IL half the season. And I hate that kind of Bill Belichick brained, get out a year early. It feels heartless for someone who you got to have a heart for, and Kevin Gausman. But I don't see it. And trade deadline's got to weigh on you, man. I don't care if you've been in this game a long time and been traded like he has. If you told me that I don't know what city I'm working in 2 weeks from now, that sucks.
Yeah.
Now, if you paid me $20 million, I'd go work in any city, and I'd have a smile on this
You'd find
face.
a way to make it work.
I would, but it's a factor, and it's on top of all of this stuff for Gausman. And that's an interesting no-trade list. This feels like a no-trade list where he chose those to actually not be traded to. Sometimes you'll see a no-trade, and it's Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays, and people get upset. Why don't you want to go to the Jays?
So
it's a sense of control.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand that often enough, that it's a mechanism put into control. This looks more like a traditional, just don't trade me to these places.
Right. He doesn't want to live in Cincinnati.
But some of those teams teams,
Milwaukee, Pittsburgh.
they're not trading for him. Some of those teams are out of it.
No,
the Mets are not trading for him.
That's the whole thing. The Reds aren't doing it.
No.
The Tigers aren't doing it. The Mets aren't doing it. The A's aren't doing it. But the White Sox possibly.
The Pirates
and
could.
Mariners.
I think of Atlanta.
Maybe.
I think of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Atlanta has traded for Gausman before.
And
under
needs
Alex
pitching.
Anthopoulos, and they need him. Now, I would pay some real money, fellas, a good $20 to be in the room for that phone call between Ross Atkins and Alex Anthopoulos. And all those dynamics, let's call them, especially for a big guy like Gausman. But he'll have a market, man. There will be teams who think they can get him back.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. To know what the market is, because none of them are popping right now. If it's Gausman, if it's Bieber, if it's Varsho, if it's Springer, none of them are having good years. None of them are at the top of their value.
Who do you think is number one most attractive?
Jeff Hoffman.
Interesting. And he has
Jeff
another year
Hoffman.
left on his
I
contract?
think that
Another year.
Hoffman has some real attraction.
Really?
There's a year left, and this is the ultimate example of how fans view their own market. And I understand that. When Blue Jays fans hear Jeff Hoffman, they see Miguel Vargas hitting the
Rojas.
hitting the shot to left field.
And he
1 out.
He will always
Bottom of the
have that hanging over him.
And that
unfortunately,
eliminated-
that's just the truth.
That eliminated the rest of the playoffs, which were great.
Yes.
That's the conversation with Jeff Hoffman all the time. Okay, he has one god-awful outing, then he's brilliant for a month.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when you look in this open market, it's going to be a lesson that your team's players are never as valuable as you think.
Yes.
Because Blue Jays fans are going to say, Kevin Gausman. I mean, this guy's got a piece of Blue Jays fans' hearts, what he did in the postseason. If you're the Braves or the Phillies, you're looking at it and saying, okay, well, look at his last start. We don't care what he meant to the community of Toronto. Look at his last start. Look at where his fastball velo is. What's he doing with the splitter? It gets much more heartless from the other side of this, and the value's never what you think. Springer's another good example.
Yeah.
But if I am an opposing team, and I know that Blue Jays fans won't agree or see this, and I get why, there will be contenders out there looking at Jeff Hoffman, who's striking out 14 batters per 9 innings, who has a whiff rate of 50% on his slider, which is bananas. And they're going to say, man, if we could get the right 25 appearances out of this guy, he could be one of the best ads at the deadline.
Yeah. Just make sure he's not closing for you.
In his
Yeah.
7th, 8th inning.
Be real careful.
You're right. In the playoffs, man, he was big
was
for them.
dynamite,
He was dynamite. He gave them 2 innings against Seattle, I believe it was Game 7, was it not? I think he was there. I think he gave them the 8th and the 9th, or at least 4 or 5 outs.
Yeah.
We were in the building. I can't remember. It all
big.
blends together. But he was really, really
But
good.
that's like the biggest but of all time.
The ultimate.
Yeah, but
Of course, hey, listen, I'm not.
I know you're
I'm
not.
I'm not downplaying giving up a home run to a 9-hitter when you're up 4-3 in the
To
ninth
lose-
inning of Game 7 of the World Series.
yes.
It was a horrible pitch that missed, and Rojas, to his credit, went down, kind of got it, but he'll never get past that.
Yeah.
And listen, management for the Blue Jays and the other 29 teams, they can't consider what Joe Blow fan thinks in terms of the value and in terms of trying to predict what he might bring to your team this year and next. But if you're a Blue Jay fan, you have all the right in the world to constantly have that hanging over him.
Always.
It'll never end.
That's what you're
like. Unfortunately for him, you're just never going to live that down.
And it's the conversation we're stuck in with Hoffman. Like I'm using it from the other side now, but it also drives me nuts when I cover Hoffman's year last year, and I have to read over and well, outside of the home runs, brother, what?
Yeah, he gave up a lot.
There was too much apologist coverage of that. Outside of the home runs, which were real and happened in real games and scored real runs, I cover actual baseball games with scores at the end of them. And I'm a big believer that the scores are one of the most important numbers in baseball. And I know that not all of them added up to have the most, expected batting average and expected results. But God, when it keeps happening, I understand why fans have that feeling. But on the other side of this, I do think there will be some front offices in baseball looking at his metrics on the good days and thinking, holy, if we can just get these good days, that's the piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now, as for position players, I don't think Varsho would have a big.
Springer would be a nice playoff bench guy.
He's got a DH and he's got to be a right-handed bat, maybe off the bench. He's never going to obviously be in the field for you for the most part. And his numbers and his performance, it's so down this year. But World Series MVP, incredibly clutch.
Tons of playoff
history.
Yeah.
I think there's a market out there for George Springer. I'm not disputing that. I just don't know how much you're getting in return.
No, you're not, right?
Yeah, and that's the question. Like, if you're at Ross Atkins and company and you're trying to use the trade deadline to build up some collateral to allow yourself to feel good about the 27 season, because that's what you're doing, I don't know how much improvement you're going to get.
Right.
They've been pretty good with trades. Like, Atkins and company have made some really good trades over the years. And even under the radar ones that at the time you didn't maybe pay a ton of attention to, that have worked out and paid off pretty well. So I think they deserve the benefit of the doubt that they can find some value. The thing is, their players have got to supply enough value for them to be able to get what they want.
Yeah. They need stars.
Exactly.
I don't care anymore about competent big leaguers. You should be able to find that in the waiver wire, and I trust this front office to do that.
Yeah, they've done it well.
A big leaguer no longer excites me. A 24-year-old prospect who will grow into play 50 games a season, I don't care. I really don't anymore. You need more stars, because right now Vladdy is your star. And when he fails, your whole season fails. I know Ernie Clement's been a great story, and he's an all-star, but someone like that reaching the ceiling of their potential and talent, that's not your star. That's not driving your organization. Mm-hmm. You need 2 or 3 superstars on this team. The Blue Jays can find big leaguers really well. And you're right, they haven't blown a trade. There's no great regret where you trade Tatis or James Wood when they're young or something and you're totally screwed and you regret it forever. They've done good in trades, but they need stars. Man, just more big leaguers doesn't get it done, because then you're betting on everyone to have top outcomes. And it just doesn't happen. It happened last year. You can't bet on that happening again.
Yeah, and again, Vladdy last night, it's a daily occurrence, but you look at the first inning last night where they get 3 singles and the bases are loaded, and he strikes out and he challenges. And I haven't wrapped my head around the whole challenge system, what it means, how you can possibly, game plan or have a blueprint of where it's going to apply the rest of the game, because you just don't know. You don't know when it's going to be used again or not. But that's a standard to me where I'd love to know if John Schneider spoke to him, because he obviously gets preferential treatment, right? He's going up there and he probably has access to a challenge that Valenzuela clearly doesn't. He's not walking in there and tapping his helmet when he strikes out, but it was a blatant strikeout. And he challenges, and it's a showing of frustration, but also it's selfish in the moment. And that's where I wonder about the standards the rest of the way, because Vladdy is on your team for the next 13 years, right? He's here next year. He's a guy that's got to be a leader for you. He's got to make sure it doesn't get crazy ugly. This can speak to the Leafs down the stretch. Yeah. Guys start getting injured, and it gets really ugly. And all of a sudden, kids are showing up, and it's like no one knows how to show them what they're supposed to do here. And, you don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill, but that, to me, that was a selfish challenge. It was a selfish play by Vladdy simply out of frustration. And I get why he's so frustrated. I understand it. Like, he can't hit. He doesn't hit for power. He doesn't hit, period. But that's not the situation last night. And he jumped the gun. Play. Yeah, it was just exactly. I'm not accepting this. Actually, you are. It's a strike.
Terrible. Boom. Tap the helmet.
And then Varsho pops out, and Okamoto chases a pitch that was miles outside of the.
Too bad at bats.
Horrendous at bats. And then at that point, you knew the game was over.
Toast.
Like when they did not cash a run in the first inning, it was done.
The whole feeling.
It was over
in there. And you need. It's so tough in baseball. You need Vladdy in a leadership role to be stubborn and steady. It's kind of the challenge of John Schneider right now. Like, everyone wants him to throw a chair either at the wall or at me. I don't really care. And curse a bunch and get as red as these logos behind us. And
he can't do that.
Listen, it's in the toolbox.
No, it's there, man. He wants to. And you can tell.
I think he walks in every morning and looks at that toolbox like, man, wouldn't I love to? But in baseball, like, you need to hold a standard. It's not always about trying more. Vlad can't go out and fight a guy. He can't go out and lay a hit and set the tone and fire up the building. And that's the challenge within baseball. But you can't have these cracks, because then every single kid, Sean Keys, Yohendra Pinyango, everyone coming in is going to say, okay, well, this is the standard here.
Yeah.
It's up to Vladdy to hold that bar, but it's hard in baseball because it's not always an active thing. It's avoiding things like that you need to avoid. If we were talking about the Leafs and Vladdy was the captain, I'd say, go fight someone, go lay a hit, go show people that you really give a damn. And that would be my small-brained, unanalytic approach to this. Mm-hmm. But you can't do that in baseball. You can't try harder because you'll look stupider. So you need to hold the line. And that was an example of him not quite doing it.
Exactly. Did not hold the line. Because, 3 months ago, he takes his medicine.
Yeah.
Wish I swung at that. What are you going to do? Here, it's like, we're so desperate. I'm in such a dark place. I'm not accepting reality.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And that's an issue. And it unraveled last night. Jay's back in action tonight. So Keegan's in here, Jonas in here. We got Steve Phillips coming up just after 5 o'clock. We'll get Steve's take on value of these players. What he thinks Ross Atkins and company could do between now and the trade deadline. And, there's still a lot of news out there in terms of what's going on possibly with the NHL's offseason, NFL camps opening up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
I've had a large amount pass, bust, smile, and a couple beautiful.
All right, OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Jays Rays tonight. And the Red Sox and the Orioles played this afternoon. They got a doubleheader. The Red Sox won again, 15 in a row. Still no update on Aaron Judge and what's going on with him in the future. Yankees, they were playing Pittsburgh, and the Pirates have won that in 10 innings. So moving and shaking for those that are concerned with that kind of thing. Not necessarily here in Toronto. It's a bizarre turn of events, but we've been talking about it daily. Keegan, you've been writing about it daily. It's unfortunate that we're in the position we're in. But, Jonas, you and Keegan, two peas in a pod covering teams.
Yeah.
Where they, the year before, had great years. The Blue Jays had a great year. The year before, I know the Leafs, they choked out against Florida, but still it was a very good year.
Sure.
Winning the division and the playoff round for them.
That's another one of those.
You don't like
he
that?
was talking about it before. It's like one of those yada yadas. Yeah, they took the defending champs to 7. It's like, do you remember how
you have a
those
higher
games
standard.
5 and listen,
I got you.
Yeah.
John, I'm just saying, relatively speaking,
it was the second round.
It's the second round, but for them, it's only the second time it's happened in 20 years.
Amazing.
They won the division. They've done that like 5 times in their history.
And never the Atlantic. Congratulations.
There you go. Right,
I feel like we need
banner.
to play that Jesse Marsh quote. I'd rather be us than them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They lost.
Exactly.
But you know
we don't like Morocco. Who cares if they beat us? We'd still rather be us. Okay, I like it. You're a difficult marker.
I mean, it's been, is it 59 years?
It'll be 60 this year.
Yeah. So
like I was talking.
the standard should be pretty high.
I had the chat with my oldest daughter last night because we were talking about the Jays, and she got on board last year, right? And that is what is happening a lot at the park. You mentioned the apathy.
Yeah.
There are obviously season ticket holders that have been going to that park forever, and there are diehard Blue Jay fans that know exactly what's going on, and they're disappointed. And it's not really in the nature of a Toronto sports fan to lead a charge or lead a fandom revolt on what's going on the field, on the ice, on the court. It's not in the DNA of the city. But they captivated the whole country last year, where a lot of people, and I said this yesterday, from coast to coast said, we're booking a trip and we're going.
Yeah.
On July 21st, they're playing Tampa, and hopefully Kevin Gossman's starting. And they flew in from Halifax, or they flew in from Victoria.
I saw them downtown. I saw
and they're
all
walking
everywhere.
around,
Yeah.
and they're like, hey, we're here, and the team stinks, and they're getting smoked, and it's very difficult, but they want to make the most of it because this is their big trip, right? This is it. You're here to see them. So I was talking to my daughter last night because she's like, what the hell's wrong with the Jays? Like, why do they stink so much?
Well,
I'm like, sit down. I'm going to take you through some problems.
Welcome to Toronto.
Pour
This
yourself
is,
a scotch.
sounds like a great night.
Yeah, it was a dark night in the Hayes household. My wife had to step in and say, that's enough.
So their average bat speed.
Exactly. I'm like, exactly that. And I'm like, and Vladdy challenged.
You've got pictures on the wall and red strings connecting them all.
Exactly that. I'm like trying to figure out what's going on. And anyway, after that, she followed up with, when did the Leafs last win? I'm like, oh, God. You really want to have this conversation? Because, yes, the Jays have not won a World Series in 33 years. They made it to the World Series. They made it to a little thing called the ALCS a couple times in 15 and 16. The Leafs have not, because I did the math last night, not that you really need to. I'm like, they have not won a Stanley Cup in 60 years. Yes. And then it became,
and have not been to
Grandpa? Yeah, exactly. I'm like, they haven't even been to a Cup final.
Yes. That's why the standard should be way higher.
You're right.
I mean, I don't care.
You would think so.
It
Jonas.
should be.
You would think so.
Yes.
Yeah, the goalposts have moved so far that making the playoffs is now something that...
It's funny how they swing like back and forth. Like, remember in 2013, that was the conversation. It's like, they made the playoffs.
Yep.
Cool.
And got to Game 7.
Yeah, and they
Forget
got
what happened in Game 7.
Don't worry about that.
They got there.
In the handshake line.
Yeah, well, that was later.
Oh, man.
And then they were making the playoffs every year. And it's like, who cares?
Yeah. Well, you know what's bizarre about, like, when you actually take time to kind of just ruminate in all this kind of pain and really allow yourself to soak it in. Yes, not going to a Cup final in 59 years is very difficult.
Especially when you watch Vegas go to 3. Is it 3 in like...
They've been to 3 in 10 years.
Okay.
Yes. Very, very difficult. Florida went there their second or third year in the league as well.
Yes.
Remember Van Beesbrook and
Right.
Jovanovski.
Oh, Van Beesbrook.
And then 1, 2, or 3.
And now they've won 2 of the last 3. That's, again, a Southern market that wasn't around, 60 years ago. But they have not been to a conference final in 24 years.
Yeah, that's wild.
Dude, forget Cup final.
Well, and Hayes,
Conference
I
final
bet if you
in
went
24 years.
I wonder if you went around the league, how many teams have been to a conference final? Like, it's probably a lot, right?
I would guess if you're taking out Seattle and Columbus, those are the obvious ones that come to mind.
Right. Arizona's, Utah's never.
Arizona has.
Oh, did they?
Yes, they did. With Mike Smith and Rafi Torres was on that team. I'm pretty sure they were in a Final Four, Jonas. Look that up, Alex. I'm almost positive because I remember Rafi was on the team. I'm pretty sure Shane Doan and them, I think they made it to a Final Four.
Might be right with the whiteout.
Yes, I believe so. Maybe they lost to L.A. or Chicago or something like that. But I'm pretty sure Phoenix made it to it. So
you're probably looking at very few teams, if any.
I would say in the last 25 years, the Leafs, Columbus, and Seattle are the only teams that haven't. That would be my guess.
Ooh.
That would be
my
so
guess. The second round is not very good.
But for them, again, actually, when you consider it.
Yeah.
All right. So you two, unfortunately, fortunately, you got great gigs. It's a lot of fun, right? And you guys are both objective guys. But disappointing seasons. Keegan, you're still in the midst of this.
Still in her.
Right? You're still
plugging it out.
You're still grinding through 61 more games. But I figured I'd get you guys to kind of represent your respective beats. Okay. And some of this will be therapeutic for you.
I should have worn a quarter zip.
Yes,
You know?
Quarter
There's
zips are
no
big
item
down there.
of clothing that is less forgiving to my body than a quarter zip.
You're not a quarter
They're
zip
not
guy?
structured enough. When you
Yeah.
get the loose polyester ones, I could never be a.
Well,
both for what they are related to in baseball and fashion-wise, I can never.
And some of it, if you get the sizing going, the arms get big too,
That's
right?
the
And
thing.
then you get way too much thread, and it's a struggle. You can rock a quarter zip. Jonas is built for a quarter zip.
the frame.
Like built,
I don't have it.
Like literally a mannequin for a quarter zip would be Jonas and the body type. But okay, I'll give you guys the floor here. Jonas, why don't you go first because you're through it? So
Okay.
maybe you see the world a little bit differently. Explain why the Leaf season was the worst of the two seasons.
Oh, man.
If you can, make your case.
Just block out an hour and a half.
Yeah, go ahead. Try to keep it within reason of 45 seconds.
I
to a
was
minute.
telling Keegan, like, when I went on vacation, I stopped thinking about the Leafs.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
this is now, I'm going to have to dive back in
You're
and like
back
think of all
now.
the reasons. There were just so many reasons. Like, I mean, last offseason, they did not have a good offseason. You remember, they didn't actually do anything. Like, remember July 1st last year? It was like they signed Michael Pizzetta, Travis Boyd, and they did the Nick Waugh sign and trade with Mitch Marner. That was like it.
Yeah, you're right.
So they didn't really
They
do
did,
anything.
they did kick tires.
They looked into a lot of stuff.
They were
didn't do
kicking a
anything.
lot of tires.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the roster was flawed. They lost a big piece
And Mitch.
in Mitch.
Yes.
Never replaced him. And it just was like terrible the whole time. like literally, training camp was bad.
Yeah.
It started bad. Stolarz called out the team like a week or two into the season.
Yep.
It was like everything is going bad. We wondered about Austin Matthews. Would he look like himself again? It was like he was playing with like Domi and McMahon, and like they never had a replacement for Marner. And it just, every time you thought this was the worst they could possibly play, it was like, no.
Or a big injury.
Or a big
Austin
injury.
getting hurt.
It was just one thing after another. It snowballed, and they just could never get it back on track. It was really, I've never covered a season like it.
Very compelling case. Now, Keegan, again, you're kind of at a disadvantage here because the Jays, they could go 61-0 the rest of the way, and then this would not age well, right? But you've covered 101 games so far.
Yeah.
And this was, I'd say, the most hyped season since 93.
Yep.
94, the work stoppage was kind of hanging over everything. I mean, that's a long time ago, but obviously there was a lot of excitement there. But I think higher than going into 16, going into 17, for sure. I mean, based on what they did last year.
Easily, yeah. You go back, I look at after that big Marlins trade going into 13,
Yes.
but that was created hype. This was earned and natural hype.
Right.
And I think that the case for the Blue Jays would be about the scarcity or the rarity of the attention. The Maple Leafs, I think, are always going to have that more consistently. Whereas the Blue Jays, they have their base, but this was about a national spike. Like the TV numbers last year were stupid.
Massive.
Absolutely ridiculous. And the national attention that grabbed was so rare. And now I think you're seeing just these last few days, like a swing from disappointed to anger. You know, you start to hear and see the fan. I'm stupid enough to open my mentions every once in a while and see that. I'm sure you get these too, Jonas, where it's, you know what? Ask the hard question.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
What people really want me to do is take the mic and say, John, Keegan Matheson, MLB.com, do you know the team sucks?
Yeah.
Like it's
Why have you not been fired?
There's not really an understanding of how the job works, but I sense fans getting to that point right now. So the case for the Blue Jays is the scarcity of this and the attention that they have that they are losing right now. Because for a lot of fans who jumped on the wagon, and bandwagon's cool. Everyone starts as a fan eventually. I don't mean bandwagon as a bad thing. All great. But a lot of fans who just jumped on the wagon are suddenly thinking, oh, like this is way less cool.
Yes.
No, this is not nearly as enjoyable as that big national thing that I got to talk to everyone at work about every morning. And when your favorite ball club sucks, it's every night.
Yeah, that is.
It is relentless. If the Packers suck, one day a week is ruined.
That's right.
When the Blue Jays suck, man, you're having some bad weeks.
Yeah, that I gotta lean. I gotta lean
That's pretty
Jays.
compelling.
I gotta lean Jays. I think Keegan really hammered that.
The
I mean, they
misery.
did miss the playoffs for the first time since 2016
Well, and that is the thing.
and crashed out. Like
And-
it was like,
in the stretch run in particular, which again the Jays are just getting into. We established that at 401. It can get worse.
Yeah.
Like they could legitimately be at a point where you're like, are these guys going to win 70 games even?
but I think you're right because it was like they were at the
Last
top of the
year.
mountain. Like we just went and saw the Odyssey, And it's like if the next Christopher Nolan movie is just the worst movie you've ever seen, you'd be like, what the heck?
So you thought The Odyssey was great?
It was unbelievable.
Really?
You know who's, I wanted to tell you, know who's in it? Sean Avery.
Oh, I've seen him do some press on it.
Unbelievable.
Like, does he have a prominent role?
No, he has no lines, but you're just like, that's Sean Avery.
There's Avery.
Yeah, I was like, is that Sean Avery? That's Sean Avery.
Okay. Nice.
He's just there.
Hayes, I don't think you were in the room yet when I was telling Jonas about my favorite Odyssey moment from doing the morning show the other day with AK and Carlo. And Korolnik was telling me, you know what, guys, I'm going to go see the Odyssey later today. We were arguing about whether seeing like an 11 a.m. or noon show by yourself is bad. And I'm all for it.
Okay,
I
you're
love
okay
it.
with that.
I'm all for it. But AK said, you know what, I'm trying to stay offline, though, today. I don't want to see any spoilers. And I lost my mind because this book came out 2,000 years ago.
It's been around a long time.
And you've survived up until now. It was my favorite moment I've had on the station in a long time.
That is good. I mean,
I hope
spoilers,
it didn't get spoiled.
I mean, a book spoil, you can't, like, you can spoil a book, but the idea of someone reading it between now and noon would be difficult to see happening. But I've heard it's great, but now you're giving me
what I'm saying is,
firsthand testimonial.
But then imagine like you're really
Afterwards,
hyped up and you're like, man, this,
100%.
and it's terrible.
It's terrible. And again, I think Matthews, and we'll get to this in a moment, the comparison of the two, but the Vladdy season is so extreme.
Yeah.
That adds to the Blue Jays' pain. That at a minimum, if you had him maybe
Right,
chasing
you could say-
down something, yeah, you'd be like, dude, look at what
At
this
least
guy's
he's
doing.
performing. Like,
Exactly.
what do you
And-
want him to do?
And he that was a launching pad for everyone when what he did in the playoffs. And look at this guy's going to legitimately chase MVPs. You know, it wasn't great for Matthews last year, and then obviously the injury was literally, insult to injury. But Vladdy, it's been so bad. So let's go there when it comes to those two players. Jonas, you make the case. I got a 2-pack for you guys. We'll start with the overarching legacy of the two. Matthews will have a more prominent, long-lasting legacy in the city
Then
than Vladdy.
I think he will because hockey is just bigger. However, that's the whole country. But in Toronto, I mean, I would make the case that he's the greatest player they've had. I know there are lots of people who would disagree with that, going back to like the 60s, maybe beyond that. But like at his peak, he was unbelievable. And like Vladdy has never reached that level. Like he had 69 goals and was the best defensive forward in the league. You and I have argued about this a lot.
No,
Like he was
unbelievable.
and it's just like now is he ever going to get back to that or something close or like something in the ballpark? But I just think because he did it for the Leafs, it's going to resonate longer. But the playoff thing is always going to be part of the conversation until it's not.
Yes.
Like that was the conversation about Guerrero before last year.
Right, exactly. Now that you got the contract and all that kind of stuff, what are you going to do in the playoffs? Now, he carried his weight plus in the playoffs.
Yes.
With how well he played. That's what's always stopped me with Matthews is, like, I could look at an individual season. I would argue Gilmore in 93 is tough to top. Like, it's very difficult to top. He had 127 points.
Yes.
The guy, you could argue, I think he was probably the best player in the league. A guy named Mario Lemieux was pretty good. Gretzky was pretty good. Fedorov was pretty good. But he was that good. But Matthews, his 60-goal season, his 69-goal seasons, that's as good as it gets. Like right there with Gilmore in 92, 93, and 93, 94. Dougie followed up with 111 points the next year. But that's as good as it gets. Vladdy, he has at no point during a regular season put forth a top 10 season in franchise history.
Yeah,
Like,
you hold him up against Bautista, Carlos Delgado's peak years.
Donaldson peak year,
Peak years there. And I think the Delgado peak, late 90s into early 2000s, is a good comp of what you need to get to. Because he was not just hitting 40 homers a year. It was a 1,000 OPS every year.
Yeah.
When you're getting adjusted to. And for Vlad, like the way I look at this is what would Vladdy have to do to top Matthews in this? And it's championships. Like I think without rings, without trophies, it's Austin Matthews. Because when I look at them and compare them, how many 40-goal seasons as Austin Matthews has, a couple 60-goal seasons, and there's consistency to go with the greatness. Vladdy had his big, 2021 season with 48 homers. Only Shohei kept him from the MVP.
Yep.
I get that. There's been a couple of other great ones, but there's just some good mixed in.
Yeah.
And you're going to need championships along the way. Because Vladdy, over in the next 14 years, counting stats are all going to be his. He's going to knock off Delgado in every category eventually, just from being here and showing up. But unless Vladdy wins a World Series or two, that gets difficult because he has not been that top of the league consistent guy. He's shown he's able to do it once or twice, but to do it 8 or 10 years in a row, that has not happened yet.
Yeah. I do wonder if he could grab an MVP, which is asking a lot. It is. And he's 27, and, see what happens with Judge in the forthcoming seasons and what this injury is going to mean for him the rest of this year and the next, et cetera. But that would be, that is, again, you look at the history of the Maple Leafs, who have been around 50 years longer than the Jays. No one had won a Hart.
Since, I think, 1955.
Right. And Matthews got it. Like, he got Rookie of the Year. He got the Hart. I think, I'm not going to say he got robbed when he scored 69 because the other three guys were phenomenal that year, too.
Who do you think wins more MVPs the rest of the way? Do either?
That's a great question. I would
do either is
either is probably the likelier.
If you're as a first baseman, you better hit 50 home runs.
Yeah, I would bet
that's
zero.
hard.
I would bet neither of them win anymore.
Yeah,
but Matthews would be the likelier.
But he probably, which begs the question: more likely to happen the next full season they play. Matthews scores 50. Vladdy hits 40.
Matthews all day.
You think 50 is still in the repertoire for him? I just think it's less likely. Pretty significant drop off for him.
Sure, with a lot of extenuating circumstances, which might be changed, and I just don't know that Guerrero's ever going to hit 40 again. He's not
right
really
now.
No, but
even he's not going to hit.
But
10.
look at his. Did he ever hit? Has he ever hit?
He had 48 the one year.
But has he had more? How many times has he hit 30?
I think he had 32 or 33 a few years ago.
Yeah, 32, and he's had a 30 season.
So
but
even
stylistically,
30, he doesn't do that.
He's not a pure home run hitter. He's not that like Kazuma Okamoto. I'm not saying one is better or worse. Okamoto is a true, pure home run hitter.
Yeah.
Those are towering, majestic home runs.
But that's what he's up there to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Vladdy is rocket line drives that maybe if they're at 13 degrees instead of 11 degrees, they go out. He has always been a hitter first, and the power is just part of the deal.
Like Wade Boggs.
Oh, man, I love it. But, man, I'd have to go on Matthews.
Okay.
On that one, I really would.
Yeah, I think McKenna's going to factor in significantly on that. If presuming Matthews stays and McKenna, they've got to have some overlap in terms of performance, right? Like McKenna, he's 18. You got to be reasonable on what you can expect.
Totally.
Even year 2, maybe he takes more steps, which is what you would hope, especially for a first overall pick. But it's likely he's 3 years away from kind of hitting his prime, of, seeing the game and slowing the game down the way that he can perform. Is Austin still here in 3 years? If he is he healthy and still performing? Does his shot return the way it was?
Yep.
That's a legitimate. You talk about Vladdy and everything you say is accurate in terms of the way he approaches at bats. Austin's shot has not been the same the last 2 years. To score 50, he's got to start ripping pucks the way he did 3+ years ago.
It really speaks to how easy he made it look in the beginning.
It was absurd. That 69-goal season was every single night that guy was scoring goals.
Yeah.
And when he didn't, it was he had 9 shot attempts, hit the post twice.
I think he had 6 hat tricks.
He
5
was
or 6 hat tricks.
unbelievable. He was so good a few years ago. And it's and all you can do is hope that he gets back to that form because he's still 29 years old.
Yeah.
Right? He's still,
not even.
Yeah, he's still
a couple months.
28. He'll be 29 to start next year. All right, boys. Good stuff. Enough of that. Moving on. Let's get Josh Lundberg in here. Talk Raptors. Let's see if we can maybe pin.
What's happening with Kawhi?
Yeah, where is Kawhi? What's going on with Kawhi? Steve Phillips in about 20 minutes. We got arbitration coming up at 5:30. Keegan Matheson, Jonas Siegel in here. I'm Brian Hayes. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live. All right, Steve Phillips coming up in about 15 minutes. Play a little arbitration with the boys at 5:30. See if LeBron James wants to make a decision on whether or not he's going to play next year or where he plans on playing.
Anytime.
Listen, anyone surprised by the idea of LeBron basking in this, you haven't been paying attention for the last 23 years. He loves the fact that the NBA is being held hostage. Loves it. He loves the fact that the reports are out there that they can't even reveal the schedule yet without knowing where he's going to go because it's not quite the equivalent of the decision, clearly, and it will not have the same impact or the same expectation in terms of winning like he did when he went to Miami. But it's kind of his last, like, raw, yes.
Yeah.
Like, short of the retirement, which will obviously trump all of that when he does retire or if he announces retirement or his last game and he's walking off, what have you. This is kind of the last time where LeBron can say, I still own you guys. I got you. And to his credit, he does. It's pretty amazing.
He does.
Like, it's actually pretty incredible that a guy who's 41, 42 years old now, he's played in the league for 23 years, can be a free agent and has the whole league paralyzed because you can't reveal your primetime games. Like, if you're ESPN, NBC, you're like, I want LeBron.
Yeah.
You know, and if he goes somewhere where they're not getting a ton
Well,
of
and if he goes to
primetime
Golden
love,
State, they're going to be on all the time.
they'll be on, and they're going to be on anyway.
Yeah.
But you're right, they'll be on even more.
Yeah.
Like they're on all because Steph's there and it's a big
Right,
market.
yeah.
But you're right. If he ends up there and he's playing with Steph, they're going to play 25 primetime games.
Constant.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be nonstop.
I'm trying to be too cool and pretend I don't care. I do.
I want to see that happen too. I'd like to see him in Golden State.
Yeah. That's got the highest ceiling and the lowest floor. If that doesn't
Exactly.
work, that's the most tragic black and white photo, him and Steph.
Totally.
But oh my God.
Like, both of them well over the arc of their career, both of them aging, you know, and it's not the same as Miami, but that was D-Wade's team. That'll be Steph Curry's team. It'll be a little bit different for LeBron, how he kind of handles that. Again, I wouldn't suggest they would win a championship. I don't think they would.
No.
Could they make the playoffs? Yeah, I think they can. But purely from a contact perspective, him playing with Steph.
And Draymond.
And Draymond being there, yeah, would be very cool.
Oh, yeah. Cleveland is kind of the boring one.
I don't see him going there. I just don't see how
It's
the
just
money
too perfect,
works.
though,
and,
narrative-wise.
And the Knicks aren't, I don't think they're interested.
If they hadn't won, though.
If they hadn't won,
on the
LeBron would have
team.
made them interested. I love how that works. Hour 2 coming up. Steve Phillips will join us. Jay's back in action. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Brian Hayes, Jonas Siegel, Keegan Matheson in here. Got Steve Phillips coming up in a few moments, a little arbitration later in the hour. Best bets coming up. I'm done betting Vladdy props. Not happening anymore.
I hope you haven't been.
Well, last night I sold myself on the idea of this guy finally not only hitting a home run, but hitting a moonshot. Because you can actually bet on that, like 420 plus feet
Okay,
home
yeah.
run. So, yeah, I convinced myself that when he gets one, he's really going to turn on a ball. You know? Like, if he hits a home run, I don't think it's just going to, like, bloop over the wall. I think he's going to smack one. So I went down that road last night, and it actually paid a lot. The only problem is it didn't happen. So
That's usually the main
it
problem.
made sense.
With a losing bet.
Can I
Yeah,
ask
it was
you guys a
great
question?
formula.
Which slump do you think is the most painful to watch, like, in any sport? Like, is it a goalie who can't stop the puck? Is it a pitcher who just can't find the strike zone? Is it a hitter who's just, like, deep in it? Like, is it a quarterback who's like, man, like, he's going to throw a pick at every time? I'm trying to think, like, what is the worst?
What else is there?
It might
Wide
be
receiver with the
A
drop.
batter might be a golfer, maybe.
A golfer with the yips is very difficult.
Yeah.
Like, if someone has, like, a short putting issue, it's very uncomfortable.
I remember, like, Chuck Knobloch when he couldn't throw to first
Yeah.
base. And it's like,
That's
really-
a legit mental block, though. That's not like performance. That's like he can't
Yeah.
trigger his brain to throw the ball the way he knows he can.
A hitter's up there.
Hitter's
gotta
up
be up
That's
there.
the one spot where the other guy makes the first move, and you can look real. But like, think of Vladdy flailing at those low and away sliders.
Mm-hmm.
That looks worse than.
And
a
like you
receiver
said
dropping one.
before, you can't try harder.
Yeah,
I think there's something to a pitcher, a starting pitcher in particular, that's really in a bad place, where it becomes a watch party of.
Yeah, who
Like-
was? Remember Rick Ankiel? He kept throwing it.
you got the yips.
Well,
Yeah,
that was the
yeah.
yips, but
That's
I'm
the
talking
yips, you're right,
performance. Like I thought you were going to say Ricky Romero. Ricky was in
Oh, yeah,
that
that's a
spot
good one,
when
yeah.
Ricky was having real command control. He had every issue, it was very tough to watch because I remember being on the air and being like, all right, Ricky's on a mound tonight. Like, he hasn't gotten out of the second inning the last, 5 starts.
Right.
What's he going to do tonight?
Alec Manoah a couple years ago.
Manoah was exactly like that, where you get to a point where you know it's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
And they haven't pitched in 5 days, and this is their moment to finally turn it around. In the first inning, you're like, man, the guy threw 32 pitches, gave up 3 runs. Like, this is big, big trouble. But, because a quarterback who's throwing picks, that is so explosively bad. You know what I mean? Like, if you throw a pick, you can't play, you can't win. Where technically you can go to the bullpen, you can't do that in football. You're not going to the backup quarterback because the guy's going to throw a pick during the game. If he's down bad, he's down bad, but he's going to keep playing. Because if he's that bad and he's still starting, the guy behind him stinks even worse.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Zach Wilson, the Jets.
Yes, that was troubling.
There's good and bad ways
pick.
to throw interceptions. There's the Brett Favre way, which I would argue is real
the
cool.
best gunslinger way.
Then there's the petrified playoff Deshaun Watson last year way, where you are cowering and praying to God those defenders get away from you, so you just flail it.
Yeah,
and so there's different ways to go about the business.
Very different ways. That's a good question, though. The worst, I think the most difficult process to watch a guy try to get himself out of.
I think it's this. I think baseball's harder because it's just you're just isolated up there. You're like on a stage. And everybody is watching.
Yeah, you're not
fail.
running plays.
Yes,
there's no teammate to bail
so much
you
happening
out,
in football,
right? You are the only guy they're looking at.
Yeah.
And if you screw up, my God, and it's such a measured sport. There's no way to hide from your struggles.
Yes.
We are going to measure every single thing about it. I can tell you the angles at which Vladdy's bat is approaching this. We've measured too much, I'm afraid. But we can break down why a baseball player sucks, unlike any other sport in the world.
Yeah. Why can't Vladdy figure that out? Isn't that
that's a great question.
So simple.
I haven't been asked that this year,
Yeah.
Why can't he figure that out?
I was telling Jonas before we came on here that whenever I'm stopped, everyone has that question, but there's never it always comes second. Hey, Keegan, love you on OverDrive. What a tremendous program, et cetera, et cetera. And then always at the end, it comes with a lean in. It's always,
what's up with
what's
that
up
guy?
with Vlad?
Yeah.
As if I've
See him at
held this
27.
secret deep within me all year.
Yeah.
I would sell that to the Blue Jays for so many millions of dollars if I had the answer.
Well,
but I love the lean in.
And everyone does. There are a lot of people that believe they have the answer, right? He's too aggressive. He's swinging at the first pitch too often. You got to just sit back and wait for your pitch. Where his bat is, the angle. Is he got his bat too high? Is his front foot dropping the way it's supposed to drop? I don't know. I mean, there's obviously analysis to it. He's going through it. Popkins is going through it. I'm sure Schneider's involved in those meetings. Sure, everyone in the organization. I wouldn't be shocked if Atkins and Shapiro popped in at some point.
Totally.
Said, what the hell's going on here?
A lot of individuals wearing quarter zips.
Yes,
are involved
a lot of quarter zips
in the
involved
process.
in trying to.
You're going to hear a lot about, is he hurt?
Yeah.
I don't care. Go on the IL. I'm going to refuse that whole excuse cycle before we get into it at the end of the year.
Exactly.
If you're hurt, hit the IL. This team can go without a 695 OPS for 8 games.
That is the reality. If you take his name and contract out of it, he's hitting 8th in the lineup.
Yeah.
Honestly, he'd be he would.
It's tough.
It's not good. All right, Steve Phillips coming up here in a moment. Again, the Red Sox winning today. Do they have enough, in your opinion, to turn this incredible story into an actual run?
Isn't this classic Red Sox too? Just the gritty Red Sox.
Yes.
No city loves that narrative like Boston. It fits the Red Sox more. It never fit Tom Brady. Shut up. No. But the Red Sox, with the injuries they've had, with their young stars like Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer, these guys haven't been what they're supposed to be. And there are some veterans towards the ends of contracts. There are some one-year guys, some cast-offs. And, they fired their manager. They fired Alex Cora, which I still think is a bonehead decision at the start of the year.
Worked out.
Both doing it and how they did it. But, man, to tie the longest winning streak in franchise history for a team that's been around for a million years, I think 1946 is the last time they did this. This is unbelievable, man. And Boston, when it gets going like that, is such a special place, man. When it catches fire there is something contagious about Fenway Park and those fans and that setting where when they get momentum on this, it's one of those special places, man. And I don't know how they're doing it I really don't, but now's the time for them to go out and buy, man. Make a run.
That's it. And that we were talking about it off the air. Is that a spot that, maybe Springer could fit in there, right? I've seen some people write that and suggest it. Now, and I've also seen people in Boston naturally, and I get it, looking at his numbers and saying, what are you getting from George Springer? But we also saw last year was such a remarkable year. World Series MVP. Last year he had, in my opinion, the second, maybe third biggest hit in franchise history with what he did in Game 7 against Seattle. There's still a big game player in there, I think, with George. And I don't know what the value would be. I don't know what you're getting back in return if you're the Blue Jays. I don't know how comfortable you are in trading him within the division, too, and the idea of watching Springer if you're not going to get a great price, right? Like if they're kind of lowballing you a little bit and you let George go and he sets Boston on fire and they continue down this road. But it could happen this weekend. They're in Boston on Friday. There could be a scenario there where the old clubhouse shuffle, before or after the game, because I know a number of people that are going down there this weekend. And again, I think the anticipation was, I'm going down there thinking the Jays will have won 15 in a row and are red hot, and the Red Sox are the worst team in the division.
I guess we got to go anyways.
I guess we're going, and now you're going. Now you're going for the the museum that is Fenway and the atmosphere that is a Red Sox fan base when they're alive and well, and that's where they are right now.
I can see Springer being such a fit there.
Yeah,
I hate to say they traded Danny Jansen there, right? Like they're not scared.
They've done
to
it
trade
before.
with the Red Sox.
They've done it before,
and I know the numbers aren't there, man. But I think once you activate George Springer, there's one more run left in that guy. Money matters too. What's Springer making this year? $25 million.
Yeah, but
Kevin Gausman's making.
He's free after this year, right? Which I think again you would think is an easier sell to try to meet your price.
Totally.
But
they're taking that on, and that goes. So what's left of Springer at that point? $7-8 million. Does that impact whether you get an actual prospect or just a player to be named later who is, 3 months from now, we'll send you a list of a couple 17-year-olds down in our complex to pick from. I don't know if there's going to be much value, but maybe there's a bit of a value to getting out of $15 million.
Yeah.
I don't think there should be for an ownership group like this. They've got enough. But if you can play with the money, that's an underrated factor in the deadline. How the Jays can play with money here. They've done very well with that in the past. So look out for any of the cash considerations, dollar signs.
Cash considerations could be something we hear a lot about in the next week and a half.
Print
Is that what you're
jerseys.
telling me? All right, let's bring in our TSM Baseball Insider. Joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline, here's Steve Phillips. What's happening, Steve?
Hey, guys, good to be with you. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing well. Unfortunately, we're talking about the Jays being a seller here at the trade deadline, and we referenced George Springer. And, George, his struggles this year, well documented. He's there's no pop in the bat. His numbers are way down. He's 36. His contract's up at the end of the year. But he is a former World Series MVP. He is a guy that performed incredibly well last year, especially in the playoffs. If you're a team like Boston, a team like, I don't see Tampa necessarily doing this, but one of the front-running teams in Major League Baseball, would you see value in acquiring a guy like George Springer?
Yeah, I mean, you look at his postseason numbers. He's one of the best postseason players in history. I mean, he is a great postseason performer. The Chicago White Sox should go after George Springer. They're young. They have very little experience in postseason play. They have very little experience about being in first place down the stretch. And so a guy like Springer would be huge for the White Sox to be able to nurture some of those young players right there, work them through it, talk to them through it. And so, yeah, I could absolutely see that he could be a factor for a team there. The Phillies, I think, are looking for a right-handed bat. Now, they ideally need an outfielder, and Springer obviously hasn't brought a glove to the ballpark in weeks. But, if he could muster the energy to get out to the outfield a little bit, I think a right-handed bat there, because Schwarber's going to DH, but getting, a guy like Springer into a DH role would be a factor there. The White Sox can afford him in a DH role. I could see the Guardians considering a guy like that. The Twins, if they think they want to go for it a little bit. So I think that there are some guys that have better numbers. But I think for that team that's looking for, even if it's a platoon situation and a veteran leader, I could see Springer fitting for some clubs out there down the stretch.
Steve, I feel like Kevin Gausman might kind of run parallel to George Springer, where it's an older veteran player. You're betting on, can we get 2 more months out of this guy being who they once were? Do you see there being much of a market for someone like him coming off of a tough stretch? And do you think the teams out there will still believe that they can grab a number 3 mid-rotation guy a little cheaper?
Yeah, so I think that as it stands today, if they wanted to sell, I think he would be, well down the list. He's got probably 2 starts. I think there's 10 games before the 6 p.m. deadline on the 3rd. He'll probably have 2 starts in there. And if he goes out there and he pitches great, then I think there will be some interest there that maybe whatever was going on, he's been able to overcome a little bit. If he gets a second start on the 31st and goes out there and deals and pitches well, then I think maybe you could see some more aggressive play on that. But his performance has been disappointing. It's one of the reasons why they are where they are right now. He's 0-6 in his last 10 starts with a 6.1 ERA. I mean, it's been awful. And he doesn't seem to have an answer for it. So, I think that somebody will probably take a chance on him, even if he doesn't pitch better. But I think that if they want to get anything in return, he's going to have to give them 1 really quality start or 2 very good starts to get something back.
Continuing with that theme of starting pitchers, with a history veteran guys, Shane Bieber's a little bit different because of his, most recent 2 seasons, basically, where he's coming off, Tommy John last year. It took him a long time to get back into the lineup. Pitched okay in the playoffs this year. Took him a while to get back into the rotation. Hasn't been so great. How could they possibly sell that? If you're a respective GM out there, a guy like Bieber, his history, who he is, do you see a value? Do you see a market with a guy like Shane Bieber?
Yeah, I think what you're selling is his last start was pretty good. And he'll need to have another good start. And at that point, it's just a matter of, he's shaking off the rust. He just needed a couple outings to kind of get himself back on track again. His fastball velocity's back where it's been when he was pitching his best back in Cleveland. He's never been an overpowering guy. The breaking stuff, the spin rates on it, you can spin, if he gives you another good start, you could spin that the veteran guy down the stretch who, when he missed time and came back off the injured list last year, did a nice job for the Jays, more than serviceable job. And I think that you could sell, he's missed time, but he did that before and he was good when he came back. So I think there's a way to do it, but again, not a major return.
Well, Steve, actually, that's what I was curious about. As a GM, how do you decide whether the return is just worthwhile, or do you just hang on to a guy? Like, in a lot of these situations, it's all down years. So you're just not going to be getting back what you want. I mean, what's the line between let's just get something back or we just hold him?
Yeah, if they're going to walk at the end of the year and they're free agents and there's an expiring contract, trade them. Get what you can get. Cut your losses, get what you can get. Get out from some of the money, go get prospects in return. And now, my experience has been that whatever money you save by trading away veterans with expiring contracts, that money's not really there for you next year. It just might cut your losses for this year a little bit. It's not like say, oh, well, you saved $15 million. I'm going to put that on your payroll for next year. And again, we don't even know what the payroll is going to be for next year. But I think that if you've got expiring contracts and somebody wants them, and you can get a dozen bats and balls, get them. You might as well do it. There's no sense holding on to somebody and that you're not going to offer a qualifying offer if that's still in play in this next CBA. They're not going to give Bieber a qualifying offer. And I don't know, you can give Gosman a qualifying offer right now going into next season. And so I think that because of that, you take what you can get.
Steve, when you look at the Blue Jays now, and you have been behind these closed doors for teams that are having good years, frustrating years, and I'm really interested now by how John Schneider's handling the public messaging on this. He said, listen, I know you guys want me to get angry. Fans want me to get angry. It's not going to happen. And, of course, what we hear there is much different than what he's telling players behind closed doors. But in this situation, do you want your manager to be that steady, calm presence? Or is there a time to get bleeped at the podium and throw some things for a manager?
Yeah,
when does that come?
Yeah, so I think that I want him to be the steadying influence, but I think there's also a time when you flip over the table in the clubhouse with all the food on it, and you throw a temper tantrum, and you chew them up a little bit and spit them out. And then you go to the press conference and, you just say, listen, we had a little talk and I think the boys heard the message loud and clear. We'll see if it has any impact on them at all. If you have to say anything at all, if it leaks out that you tore into it a little bit, then you can say, listen, I'm not going to talk about what happened in the clubhouse, but you can understand that we're pushing the guys the best way we can. But I would think at some point that he needs to erupt. Behind closed doors, I don't want to publicly call out players and throw anybody under a bus. I don't think that works. I think you lose your team that way. But I think there's a way to do it in the clubhouse where the message is clear. I love you, but Dog Nubbit, you better get yourself going a little bit right now, or we're gonna, things are gonna change around here in the future.
Yeah, he's really trying to lay it on thick that it's not an effort issue, it's not a caring issue, so he just can't do it, which I think the problem he's created there, Steve, or the corner he's backed himself into, is if he does blow up now, I think the first question would be, if I'm Keegan Matheson down there, is, okay, so who didn't give the effort that led to this?
Yeah.
Like, now that you've blown up, because last week when they were terrible, they have been embarrassed the last two nights, destroyed by Tampa, and he's coming out with the same message. You want me to snap? I'm not going to do it. Not an effort thing. If he does snap tonight, then doesn't he have to give you an answer on who didn't give you the effort? If that's his explanation, I'm only going to snap if I don't like the effort. Then if he does snap, he's got to explain who didn't give it to him.
Right. You're right about that, and it would be a fair question to ask him. 100%. I think that this is a results-based industry. This is a results-based job. And yes, effort is critical, but I expect that. If you're not giving me 100%, but at some point you got to start making plays. And enough of the making errors and everything else. I've patted you on the back. That part didn't work. I would have to leave open for myself different tools to be able to push buttons on players. And sometimes anger can get them going. And what you do, you may call out your veterans and call them in, Springer and Vladdy, and say, boys, we got to change something here. So understand, you're the leaders. I'm going to tear you up a little bit right now in front of the boys. And I need you to be able to handle it, take it, and use it to inspire everybody else. I think there's a way to do that with your veterans, because once you do it to them, it impacts everybody else. Because if you're chewing up on Vlad Guerrero and George Springer, then what do you think everybody else is feeling? If Snyder's disappointed in those guys, then he's disappointed in me too. And I think players sometimes expect that. I remember some of the best butt chewings that we ever got from minor league managers that were just unbelievable. I've seen them later, and I said, man, that speech you gave when I was in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, I still have goosebumps about that one. And he'll laugh about it. The manager, Sam Perlazzo, longtime Major League coach, oh my gosh, it was one of the greatest butt chewings I've ever heard. But I've had every year a manager would give something to somebody, flip it over the food table just to see if it could spark the team to get them going in different directions. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. But you got to try something.
Steve, if you're in the front office or the manager's office and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is on your team, any star player, face of the franchise, is on your team, sub 700 OPS, everything is going wrong. What do you want to see from them down the stretch? Do you want to see some of that frustration come out similarly? What do you look for or want to avoid seeing?
Yeah, I don't think players getting overly, players are so hard on themselves as it is. Their internal voices, if people could see, in cartoons, they have the bubble that pops up that shows what you're thinking. If they could actually see what the guys were thinking about themselves, you wouldn't believe how much they're beating themselves up. And so I don't want him to beat himself up more, because that to me compounds the problem. It forces you to try harder, and trying harder gets you in a deeper hole. You start to do too much. You jump at the pitcher. You're overthrowing. You're overcharging a ball in the outfield and it gets by you. It doesn't work to get on a guy to try harder. And so you've got to try to take the burden off of them. But I think that at some point, a nudge here and there, if it's not working with the pat on the back and the hug, then I think a kick in the seat of the pants is okay. And I don't need Vladdy to throw a bat and get frustrated. I don't need him to get thrown out of a game. But I've got to try something for him, to him, so that it can trigger something to get him going.
So the Red Sox won again this afternoon. That's 15 wins in a row for the Boston Red Sox. What is the ceiling for them this season?
Yeah, I mean, they've kind of exceeded it right now. I mean, I like them coming into the year, and then they were so bad early on, they couldn't hit. And now, honestly, it's when the Scottish soccer fans showed up at Fenway Park. And the reason, and I say that, and it's funny, but I actually think there's some truth to it, because all of a sudden they started to have fun. You know, they were losing and they were down and they were hanging their head. Nobody was smiling. Then all of a sudden they win some games. They're like, people are going crazy. And like, they're like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then it kind of reinforces that fun and the behavior. And then the more you produce, the more you celebrate each other, the more you stop thinking about yourself, the more you're celebrating. Look at the fans. It pulled them right out of their morass and got them going in a different direction. And so, I think that what they believe in themselves right now is they're good enough. Their starting pitching's really good, and that's without Crochet and with Connolly early on the injured list right now. They've got really good starting pitching. They've got a team coming together offensively. You think about that. They don't have Roman Anthony playing either. I was saying Mark Anthony. Congratulations to him and his wife having their second child together, his 8th kid. But I saw that at People magazine or something. But I mean, you know, Roman Anthony's not doing anything, but this is just a team that's believing in themselves. And I got to believe that Alex Cora is sitting there going, wait, really? Like, this team's playing like this right now? And I'm sitting at home, and boy, I wish I could be part of it.
No kidding. Yep, no kidding. It's an incredible run. We'll see what they have in the second game of the doubleheader today against Baltimore. Jays in action tonight. Steve, great catching up with you, buddy. We'll do it soon.
Okay, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
There he is, Steve Phillips, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. It's time to Toyota check out the Toyota Tacoma and Toyota Tundra pickup trucks, both available as hybrids. Maple Toyota near Canada's Wonderland on the Maple Auto Mall. I knew we got screwed when Scotland didn't end up in Toronto. Like, I knew we were getting screwed when Scotland wasn't here, so the Scottish fans couldn't drink us dry here in Toronto, go to Blue Jay games and just start chanting. We got screwed.
I was in Boston when they were there for that series, many of them staying at the same hotel as me. I thought I was a big leaguer when it came to putting back a Guinness.
Dude,
I realized
fire back
there
drinks.
are greats out there.
Yeah.
I stood amongst giants.
When you have not a reputation, a legitimate trail, like this thing has been reported on and well sourced, that you drank a city dry. That is just remarkable effort and, dare I say, talent.
I respected it.
Like in a town like Boston.
Yeah.
You know, like this isn't like a small market. This isn't a place.
No shortage of ale.
No.
In Boston.
Boston's
I've tried.
One of the great party towns you can find. Like, they love to have a drink. And the Scottish fans rolled through there and said, there's just not enough here for us.
It was amazing. And Steve's right.
And it sparked the Sox.
The Red Sox sucked that weekend, but there was chants, there was singing. It was something else, man.
Yeah.
Isn't Steve the best? Who else has got Mark Anthony riffs?
Yeah, that's
off of?
I didn't realize he had a child.
That's
recently.
spectacular.
How old is Mark Anthony?
He must be in his 50s.
Because he was married to J-Lo at
He
one
was
point.
a long time ago. Yeah.
He's still
I
pumping
like
up
Mark
music?
Anthony.
You're a fan?
He's got some jams.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I can't name one of his songs. I'm sure I would know him to hear.
You would know it. There's like I don't want to
give us some karaoke. Give us some karaoke.
It's like Vivier something. It's a really good song.
So
we'll play it.
Okay.
Sold.
JP, Mark Anthony on the way in. All right. Arbitration coming up. Best bets later in the hour. Overdrive continues up on YouTube Live.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
You don't know this?
Don't know this.
This was
song.
someone's
You know
walk-up
this.
song.
It's
I forget
so
who
good.
it was it Teoscar or Lord Escorial Jr.? It was one of the Blue Jays Latin guys the last few years had this as
It's
their
a
walk-up
classic.
Is it?
Yeah.
It truly is.
I swear.
Okay.
It truly is.
Just not my wheelhouse.
This guy has collected, the Grammys and the Latin Grammys like he's Tom Brady.
Is that his number one hit? Like, is that the
That's
most
the big-
well-known
that's a big-
track?
Yeah. He's got some other big ones, but that's the
I hope so. I mean, if the guy's winning Grammys, he's got to have a lot of big songs.
He has a great voice.
Like, I'm well aware of who he is. I know he's
You know him because of
hugely
J-Lo,
popular.
right?
Basically, I know him because of J-Lo.
I've been going
I track J-Lo
deep on. You have Google alerts.
Yeah, I want to know what's going on with her.
I spent the break putting in more time on Mark Anthony's Wikipedia page than I ever have.
Oh, really?
Fellas.
Yeah.
On either side of Jennifer Lopez, he was married to a different Miss Universe.
Is that right?
Wow.
How about that?
That's
He's
pretty
lived
good.
You know what it is? He's
Good
got
for him.
swagger.
Does he?
He truly.
Just watch some of his music videos. He can dance.
That's a guy. I bet he hasn't done up his top 4 buttons.
Oh, yeah.
Since the 70s.
Where is he from?
I think is he?
Good question. I think it said born New York.
He's a New Yorker. Oh, really? Okay. Good for him.
Yeah, he's from New York.
All right.
But Puerto Rican. Born in New York to Puerto Rican.
I'm going to
parents.
send you some songs.
Okay. Yeah.
We're
Send me a
gonna get
list.
hazy on.
Yeah, I'll get
Mark
around
Anthony.
to that.
Make him a playlist.
Yeah. I can
Burn a
do that.
CD.
That would be old school.
Uh,
That'd be great. I'd enjoy that. Please do, Jonas. All right, arbitration. You guys know how to play this? Pretty simple stuff. Generally, it's a player. Maybe it's a team. Walks into arbitration. A result is pumped out, and then you either take it or you leave it. All right? So basically, you're doing the math on whether or not that makes sense or not, like whether you're willing to accept it. All right, let's begin with an NFL arbitration case. The Buffalo Bills walk into arbitration. They are offered a loss in the Super Bowl. Would they take it or leave it? Would you take a Super Bowl loss right now if you're the Buffalo Bills?
I'd leave that because of how many they've had. That's so specifically heartbreaking. to
I know.
Bills fans,
Yet,
man.
great season, right?
Yeah.
Obviously made the
It's
playoffs.
kind of like earlier with the Leafs. Like, what's success?
Oh, we'll get to
You
them
know?
in a moment.
And if the answer is always just a Super Bowl or a World Series or the Stanley Cup, like, you're screwed. You're going to have a miserable life.
Mm-hmm.
For most of your life, most of your years, you're going to be miserable. But, man, I still leave that.
Okay. You're leaving it.
I'm taking it all the way. Just so much tortured history. I know I'm getting by Mahomes. I know I'm getting by all the Joe Burrows and everybody like that. I don't
Drake
know.
May in
My
your
other
division.
option is like maybe I miss the playoffs. Maybe I lose in the first. Like, I don't know. At least I could spin that as success, sort of. You know what I mean?
I mean, it matches to an extent, like the Jim Kelly era. Yes, they went to 4 straight, but they didn't win any of those. You know, and there's no context on what happens in the Super Bowl. Do you get pumped? Does that make it worse? If it's a close game, is it even more heartbreaking? Obviously, if you have a wide right scenario, I can't imagine how people in Buffalo would ever react to that.
They'd tear down this stadium, too.
Yeah, like I think the sensible choice is to take it. To be one of the
There's
last
just
two teams.
so many other crappy options.
100%. Because then that also presumes Allen's healthy. He had a great year, right? The offensive line was intact. Joe Brady, really good coach, good hire. Really good hire.
Right.
Right? Like there's a lot of things you could walk away from and say, man, that was a great season. But I just feel like I'd leave it because, like Allen, I'm looking at it through the lens of Josh Allen. You got to win one. You do not want to be this generation's Dan Marino. You know, you don't, because he's.
But there's so many. The only better outcome is you win.
Of
All
course.
the other outcomes are worse.
Of course they are. Is it that much worse if they lose in the AFC Championship game?
Yes.
It is that much worse.
Given all the other times?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Worse than losing to the Packers in the Super Bowl. I'm expanding that.
I like that idea. I like that idea.
But listen, Josh Allen is not going to play like this forever, too. Like,
Well, and
there's
that's why you gotta
a
take
sense
advantage of this.
urgency, man. Like,
That's it.
He's not going to play this style of football till he's 38.
And
I mean,
Mahomes,
my God.
Mahomes coming off the injury. I don't know about the weapons in Kansas City. You know, does he have enough to be competitive? You know, Drake May and the Patriots, they had a remarkable
They're
season
due
last
for
year,
a-
but I think they come back to earth a little bit. I just feel like the Bills, they're in a window here where it's like you gotta try to win it. Like they've been good enough. They've been knocking on that door for 5 years now.
So close.
Where if they had have won the Super Bowl any of the previous 5 years, you'd say was totally earned. Like they were good enough. They were built to win it.
Absolutely.
They still have some question marks, of course. You know, there's some turnover on defense. Got Joe Brady there. McDermott's not there anymore. It's a big question mark. Like, did they hire the right guy? Does
Can
he
I
have what it
ask
takes?
you? I don't know what the Leaf one
I'm
is.
leaving it, though. I'm getting greedy. I want a Super Bowl.
Okay, so could I ask you as a Leaf fan, put your Leaf fan hat on? I just give you make the Stanley Cup final, but you lose. You're taking that all day and running with it. Of course.
You are because of what just happened last year. Like, I do think, again, you got to consider where the Bills are. Bills made the playoffs. You know, like the Bills, they make the playoffs every single year.
So did this team.
Yeah, but they like the Leafs didn't have the equivalent. Like Florida was not their Kansas City. Like Florida in 23 they lost in 5 games.
Yes.
Right? Like they lost the first 2 games at home. That series they were down 3-0.
Yeah.
They won game 4. So like that series was over like that. The Bills and the Chiefs had multiple battles where the Bills had those games. The Leafs have not had the same thing. I just think it's a different level of expectation.
Sure. But when you have
undoubtedly with the Leafs, I would take a sweep in a cup final right now. Like if let's just throw that out there right now. Leafs walk in arbitration, 4-game sweep, cup final.
They
take it or leave it. They lose
100%.
Yeah, you take it because of how bad last year was.
That.
And they've won 2 playoff series, and
that would be 3 playoff runs. That would be their first cup final in 60 years. It would be heartbreaking, but you'd take it. Yeah, unfortunately, you'd take it. All right, let's keep moving on here. I'm going to move past the Josh Allen one here, Joe. We're going to get to a Scotty Scheffler one. I know this is where I'm waiting for you. Mark Anthony and Scotty Scheffler takes from Jonas. Scotty walks into arbitration. He is offered 1 major in the next 2 years, 1 of the next 8. He did not get one this year. He gets 1 of the next 8. Take it or leave it. Number 1 player in the world, still in his prime.
I think I'm still leaving that.
You're going to bank on him winning 2+?
I want 2. I want to get greedy and set the line at 2.5.
Okay.
That's just under.
Okay.
So, I'm thinking back through the Open, but I'm going to leave that. What do you like?
leaving it all the way.
Really?
Yeah. I'm greedy if I'm him.
Well, listen,
like, who am I looking at and being like, I'm so worried about player X?
Very reasonable. Ryan Fox, Aaron Rye.
Yeah.
You know, those were the guys that won the past 2 majors, or 2 of the past 3 majors. Wyndham Clark at the U.S. Open, which was more just random. And he's in everything. Like, he T5 this one. He finished solo second at the Masters. But I think he's sitting on 4 majors. You guarantee me a 5th. Like, now he's to a point where every one he gets, you move up to, like, all right, that's where Lee Trevino is. That's where Gary Player and Mickelson is. You know what I mean? There's a part of me that would take it, because I think what this year proved is, as good as he has been the last 4 or 5 years, it is really tough to win, man. And if you guarantee me, if I'm Scotty Scheffler, 1 of the next 8, then you're at 5, I believe, in your career, and you're like 32. You still got a lot of runway to get up to maybe 7, 8, 9, 10. I might take it.
You know what this makes me think of?
I think
if I gave you guys the next 10 years for Victor Wembanyama, I said, I'll just give you 1 title for the next 10 years.
Ooh, I'm taking that.
Really?
Yes.
See, I'd say forget it.
I'm smacking that off the table.
I'm taking it.
Living in the era of the second apron, which is essentially a cap now because no one's touching it, and it requires a PhD to understand, unfortunately. I mean, none of these teams are lasting, which I hate.
I know.
I want there to be an evil empire. I want there to be the Brady Patriots and the 90s Bulls. I want there to be a team that upsets everyone and everyone else hates.
Yeah.
We're not there with the NBA anymore. We see it with the Thunder coming up.
I think it's 8 different winners in the last 8 years, I believe. Yeah. So I know the Spurs are right there, and he's got a great cast around him. Like, he's got some really quality young players that are with him. But it's very difficult to win. He hasn't won before, so the idea of just making sure you do get one, which I'm fairly certain they are going to win a championship in the next 10 years.
Unless he gets hurt.
But that's the thing. He is 7'6", and this guy, his legs are like this mic, you know.
But if you asked him for the next decade, like, you only won 1 championship, is that a success or failure? He would say it's a failure.
Okay, does that apply to Shea? If Shea wins 1 in Oklahoma City, that's it. He's done. Is that a failure for Shea?
No.
Why is it different for the
because
two-time MVP?
This guy's like, I mean,
the hype.
He is the alien. Like, he is unlike anything we've ever seen.
Doesn't guarantee anything, though. Just being unique doesn't, you know. Yao Ming was unique. Yao didn't win.
He's also just starting. Like, it's like McDavid. If you guaranteed McDavid 1 cup right now, and that's it, he's taking it all the time.
I'm glad you referenced him, because he's the perfect reason why you grab it.
Because you just don't know?
Because you just don't know.
But basketball's different.
It is.
One player can swing it so much more than one player.
Sure, but that's against the point. It's just you can't guarantee anything in the future. Where McDavid, you're probably right. If you asked him when he was 21, know,
I'll give you one for your career.
yeah,
You'd
he'd
be like,
probably
no
say,
way.
no, I need to chase 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I can. And he would be worthy of that confidence.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll bet you if you asked him today, he can jump in a time machine and just pick off one of those two against the Panthers, and that's it. He'd pounce on, he'd pay for that luxury.
I'm almost coming around on Wembanyama on that one now.
Grab it. Grab it.
It's hard to win two
Grab
now
it.
in the NBA.
That's
the
it.
entire league is set up to not win two. Yeah, he's got a great supporting cast. They're going to trade one of them in 2 years.
Right,
because the money doesn't work.
Harper or Castle, one of them, they're not
gonna
playing there
suck.
forever. Can't happen.
No.
It can't happen.
I don't like what
De'Aaron
these
Fox.
second aprons doing to basketball right now. You know,
Yeah.
I like that everyone gets their turn to feel happy, but I like it when there's pockets of joy and misery to
Wait till it
offset
comes
the
to
balance.
baseball.
Yeah, can't wait.
Well, it's probably something's coming in baseball. It's going to be. They're going to have
Something
a
is coming.
different economy in Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
It may not be a salary cap or whatever, but something's coming.
it's going to be a major change.
Yeah.
and it's. I hope it doesn't take as long as the aprons for me to understand.
The aprons are still very confusing.
The worst part is you can't trade. Like there's all these trade rules once you pass a certain level that I don't understand.
Incredibly punitive, and Jaylen Brown, like Lou Dort, just got traded the other day.
Yeah.
And, he's a little bit further down, but he's been like a mainstay there.
Mhm.
Like him and Shea have been like those guys are playing. Obviously, Shea's a different beast. All right, let's get to the Maple. Well, we've already kind of done the Maple Leaf one.
What was it?
Well, let me
I
do
wanna
a
hear it.
reasonable Maple Leaf one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to hear it.
The Leafs walk in arbitration. They're offered a loss in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah,
You don't
as
take
opposed
that?
to no.
So, but you
I'm-
keep saying it could be so much worse. This would guarantee they had a good year with Hiller. Chaika's moves worked. Like they'd have the same playoff history.
That is like the lowest bar of success to me.
Do you have them as a playoff team right now?
I've been thinking about. I mean, I only thought about it a little bit. I was thinking of them as like a 90 to 100, somewhere on that scale. So that's like maybe not.
Exactly.
Like it took 99 points to make the playoffs.
That's
yeah,
right.
but let's say that happened and
Tough
we looked
division.
and we looked at their season. We're like, was that a success? I would say no. It would have been 60. But like, are they winning the cup next year? Probably not. So
But
it's going to be 60 years.
that's the point. Is crazier things have happened. You can cite the Blue Jays in 2025.
Sure.
I didn't see them going to a World Series.
Oh.
I didn't see them winning 94 games.
Mhm.
It happened. I think that's more than like, in my opinion, if I had to predict the Leafs going on some getting to when they get to a Stanley Cup final, it will be a kind of out of left field scenario.
You think so?
I think it'll be the Oilers in 06.
That
It'll
doesn't
be,
seem to happen as much anymore, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to think of the last time there was. Florida was kind of that.
You could
like in
kind of say
23.
Vegas last year, but like,
Yeah, Vegas didn't have a great year. Now they have the
It's-
reputation of being a
yes.
very well-run organization with a ton of talent, but they were bad at times last year, like really bad.
their coach got fired.
Right. Florida was a point away from missing the playoffs in 23. They got all the way to a cup final.
Yeah.
So, like, I think those two would classify. Now that we know what Florida is, it's not as surprising as we look back on 23. I don't know. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I'd prefer the Leafs to build it properly, build up, and then have sustained success. But it just feels more likely in this market with this team and their history that they're just going to find a way to get in and then go on some crazy run. And next thing you know, you wake up and they're in a cup final because a goalie got hot, a couple of guys got hot, things broke their way in terms of the bracket.
Now, Mark, do it like the paper and the movies where now say it's July 22nd.
22nd,
And I
yeah.
said this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Then they can play the clip and
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I should. There you go. I'll cite this if they go on a heater next year. Say I called
I
it.
said it was possible.
It's possible, but I think I'd take them losing in the first round.
That's just loser mentality.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to break it to you.
It truly is.
I hate to. Do you know the team we're talking about right now?
Yeah,
I hate
I
to
do.
break it to you, Jonas.
Just want to be invited.
At least it would make the regular season compelling. That means they had a good regular season. I
Cool.
don't.
Congrats.
I don't see the way they're built. I don't see them as like a cup. I don't see them in a cup window right now. So
That's their whole
What is their
goal.
ceiling? What is their ceiling right now?
Second round? Could they win a round? Sure. I don't know. It depends on so many things.
This is guaranteeing
Yeah.
things break your way during the regular season.
How many banners are there in the ACC for the first round losses?
None that I'm aware of.
Hey, wild card banners, baby.
Those
exist?
They hang.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Oh, the Jays they're very big
It's
proponents of being a wild card.
Get rid of
winning
that.
team. They like it. They're fans of that. All right, there you go. The whole arbitration. That was good stuff. Yeah, I mean, listen, we're going to be playing it with the Blue Jays next year. Like, if this continues down this path, get ready for it, Keegan. I know you'll be talking about it. But
Can't wait.
Can they make the playoffs next year?
Ooh.
That'll be the big question.
If you're spending $300 million, you better make the playoffs.
Can they make the playoffs? That's true. Well, that would apply this year, and it obviously didn't work out.
Nope.
Or it's not working out as of now. All right, best bets coming up. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high.
All right, best bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Total for the Jays game, 7.5 tonight. I got to bet the over. No, I got to go the over. Because
for
the
Tampa?
Rays on their own are going to score 8
they'll
plus.
handle that.
Yeah, like they've done it the last 2 nights. I'm not saying the
good
Jays
call.
are going to put up runs, but you got an opener tonight for the Jays. The way they defend, there's defensive mistakes every single night, so they're going to give freebies to Tampa, and Tampa smells blood in the water. Like, they know this team is wounded. Tampa, I don't think they're worried about the Red Sox right now, but they want to win the American League East.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a free pass the way the Jays are playing right now. So I think over tonight. Best bets powered by FanDuel. Same game parlays available for every MLB game on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly, 18 plus, physically located in Ontario. Again, I'm done with the Vladdy props. Not going to happen.
You'll be taking
drag
the
me
bus
into
to
that.
work, man.
Not going to happen.
Be careful out there.
I know it's a grind.
We're going to be, though, in August, and he's going to bring this up again. You know, because you're kind of making the law of averages play. You know what? It hasn't happened yet.
At some point, it's got to happen.
It has to.
Yeah, at some point, it's got to happen.
He has not hit his last home run, ever.
Now, I'm curious. Like, I've already, in a way, almost turned the page on this season. Like, he's just got to get to the finish line. You know, the kind of team is in that spot right now. They just have so many games still left to be played. You can't have that attitude. But nothing he's going to do between now and the end of the year is going to kind of salvage things.
Unless they went on some tear and he was the leader of it.
Maybe. Yeah, sure.
That's the only day.
Obviously, if they win 15 in a row and he hits, 20 home runs over that run, then people are going to forget what happened and there would be excitement. But I'm not holding my breath on that. My point is, even if he kind of gets hot in September,
You're right,
where,
no one
he
cares.
hits 5 home runs in September and he's got an OPS of 980, and you're like, hey, that's not going to work in terms of launching next season into some sort of optimistic viewpoint. He's just got to get to the finish line and reset.
Get to the offseason.
Yeah, just get there and just shut it down.
Get to next spring training, and we can go through the same cycle we go through every spring training, where no one understands that if you pose differently, your body looks differently, and everyone says, man, he's been
He'll
in the
post
gym.
a pic.
Yeah.
And he can
Listen,
do that.
as a guy that's not petite myself, I know that if you lift your arms up, the rest of your body comes up with it. You know, it's about posing in February and March. Let's skip to that point where he's in the best shape of his life.
Yep.
I think he will be the most motivated person on the planet next spring. And that can be the big middle finger up season.
I like
for
that.
Vladdy. But the trouble with baseball is that you got a whole bunch of games after it goes bad.
Got to keep playing every single night. And they play again tonight.
It's a threat.
Every single night. And they'll play tomorrow, and then Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday down in Boston. Red Sox winning again today. It's 15 in a row. They've got another game tonight against Baltimore. Jays Rays tonight. All right, boys. Good stuff.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
We appreciate it greatly. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, up on YouTube Live and streaming shortly up on Crave. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at 4 p.m. We'll chat then.